Welcome to All Things San Antonio, the ultimate podcast dedicated to the heart and soul of the Alamo City. I'm one of your hosts, Brad Burns.
And I'm Ken Carter.
And together, we're your guides on this exciting journey through an inside look of San Antonio's culture, history, and community.
In each episode, we'll uncover the hidden gems, share captivating stories, and explore the vibrant neighborhoods that make San Antonio so special.
Whether you're born and raised San Antonian or just passing through, our podcast will bring you closer to the essence of this incredible city. From the mouth-watering cuisine to the iconic Riverwalk, we've got it all covered.
So whether you're planning your next visit, looking for insider tips, or simply want to immerse yourself in the unique charm of San Antonio, you're in the right place. Sit back, relax, and let's embark on a captivating journey through all things San Antonio.
Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. San Antonio! Welcome to All Things San Antonio podcast with your host, Brad Burns and
Ken Carter, and we're here to talk to you all about our favorite hometown team. We're going to talk about the Spurs.
San Antonio Spurs.
So with Wemby coming into San Antonio, everybody is all hype, as we know. It's like the San Antonio, the Spurs have been reborn, if you will. We've kind of, after a couple years of not the best seasons and kind of having some, I don't know, I want to call them mediocre. We haven't had any superstars. We haven't had the Tim Duncans, the Ginobilis, the David Robinsons that we've had in the past. I remember going to the Spurs, man, back when they were at the Hemisphere Arena. That's so many years ago, back when Frank Burkowski and Terry Cummings, and it's all come to a culmination. We got our championships and everything. I remember watching the very first time we won a championship in 1999. My oldest daughter, Emma, was in her bassinet kind of thing, sleeping. We had a bunch of people come over, and I had to get talked out of going downtown after the championship, and I didn't get to go downtown, and it's one of my regrets of life.
Yeah. So for those that don't know, here in San Antonio, when the Spurs win any playoff games, everybody heads downtown and honks their horn.
Yes. Peacefully.
Peacefully. One of the best things ever about San Antonio is going downtown honking.
And again, that's one of the things that we've talked about before about why San Antonio is so great. It's because we do party peacefully for the most part. I mean, everybody has their little problems, but as we saw recently after the Super Bowl and everything, we don't have those issues.
I think because we get a lot of practice at partying. So we have Fiesta, we have Rodeo, we have the Spurs winning championships. It's been a little bit, but we have that.
But we've had it 5 times. How many cities can say they've had it 5 times?
Yeah. One of the things I heard about the rodeo that was pretty funny, like as we wrap up rodeo season, is rodeo is just Fiesta with cowboy boots instead of chanclas.
That's funny.
And I read that, I was like, oh man, that is so good.
That's pretty much accurate too. But Fiesta's coming up, and we're going to talk about that soon. On the upcoming episode, all things Fiesta. But right now, our beloved Spurs are irritating some people as well.
Yeah, they are. Before we get to that, what's your favorite Spurs experience?
You know, one of my favorite things I used to do when I was younger, back when I was in college, is we would go down, and we don't have them anymore, but we had our like a personal scalper. This is like this is 1997, 1998 maybe. And it was my first cell phone. Before that, nobody had cell phones. And the fact that we had a guy, we were like so excited. I'm 24 at the time. The fact that I thought we were like so cool because we had a guy, we had a hookup to get Spurs tickets from. It's still to the, like, I used to love going down, not knowing where we're going to sit, walking up, finding our guy and everything, and buying our tickets, getting scalp tickets to the Spurs games.
Nice. My favorite experience with the Spurs is back during our championship era. Back when I worked at McDonald's, the night that they won one of the championships, I don't remember which year, we closed so quick so that way we can go downtown and go honking, because we were right there on New Braunfels and I-10, so right close to downtown.
Oh, yeah.
So we got out of there super quick. I think it was when we swept the Cavaliers. So I took the broom from McDonald's downtown with us just to let everybody know we swept the Cavaliers.
Well, that same year that we won our first championship in '99, I was actually in El Paso at the airport, flying back to San Antonio right before Game 5. And do you remember the movie? You know the movie Stand By Me?
Mm-hmm.
Jerry O'Connell is in it. He's the one. He's the chubby kid in the movie and everything. He goes on to do Sliders and marry Rebecca Romaine. So he's had a good life. But him and his brother from New York originally, and I remember them coming. They were in the airport in El Paso on their layover from Los Angeles, and I was like, this is probably one of the few times I kind of fanboyed out, and I was like, hey. If you want to go, here's a recommendation for a restaurant on the Riverwalk. Here's a recommendation. If here's my number. If you need some help getting around town, he didn't call.
So you were destined to do this podcast.
I was destined. I guess so.
Yeah. So you were doing it back then.
At least networking, trying to take care of people and show them that what's great about San Antonio for sure.
Back when we won the 1999 championship, I was probably 10 years old. And my mom had won a trip to Disney. So we went to Disney for the first time. And I was wearing the championship T-shirt. And we saw Tim Duncan in the airport.
Oh, wow.
So I got him to autograph the T-shirt. I wish I could find it or knew where it was at. I don't know if it'd be worth anything or anything, but it would just be cool to kind of hang up and just remember.
When I was, I'd say this is probably 1998 or so, right after they named the 50 greatest basketball players of all time, and they named David Robinson as one of those 50 greatest, and I still think he's definitely one of the 50 greatest along with Tim Duncan. He came into I was working at Hawk Electronics right there at I-10, and we were a reseller for Southwestern Bell cell phones. This is a long time ago. And he came in because he had some questions about his bill, and he's 7 foot whatever. He's wearing the Spurs jacket that says 50 greatest. It's got the number 50 on there. And I'll never forget, he came, he sat down at the desk, and he goes, I need to look up my bills. It seems a little high and everything like that. And I go, okay, can I get your last name, sir?
He's like, you know what it is, Ken.
No, he was like, without missing a beat, man. He was genuine as he didn't assume anything. He was like, it's Robinson, it's David Robinson. And I was like, yes, sir. And it was funny.
We've seen him a few times up here at Thai Hut on 281 in our 1604 in Bitters. So he eats there. We've seen him probably 2 or 3 times there.
And again, it goes back to San Antonio. It's like the accessibility not only of everything in Mount San Antonio, but even our stars and our basketball players. My whole life I lived here, I remember seeing them out and about different places and things. And it's like because we're a smaller market, I think they feel more comfortable, and people still come up to them when they probably shouldn't and everything like that. And I like to give them their space.
Yeah. Same thing we had when I was at McDonald's. We had Tony Parker come through the drive-thru in his Escalade, and there were people like fanboying out, and I was just like, hey, what's up, Tony? Like, here's your food. Like, we had some kids, like, we brought some kids back behind the counter so they can see him or wave to him or whatever, and he was cool with that.
That's cool.
But yeah, we didn't really make too big of a deal about it. I mean, they're just normal people at the end of the day. They just have a job where they're in the public eye a whole lot.
Exactly. And it's my daughter plays with one of the former Spurs daughters also on their volleyball team, and I see it all the time. Like they just want to watch their kids. They just want to have a normal life and just like not have to deal with all the BS and everything.
Which is one of the greats, if you might say.
He's a good guy.
Speaking about greats, Wemby, did you see Wemby? He went from holding H-E-B bags on his billboards to holding Louis Vuitton bags. He just got a Louis Vuitton, I guess, sponsorship or worked out a deal with them. Now he has a Louis Vuitton billboard near downtown.
Well, they also did an installation at a small little building somewhere on the south side where they transformed the entire building into a Louis Vuitton store, and they've got his picture in the back and stuff like that. It's probably like literally 100 square foot building, and I don't know. I'm not sure exactly where it is. I just saw it on the news.
The bags are probably worth more than the store.
Well, that's like they've got that one in Marfa too. I think it's a Prada.
I don't think they're real stores though. I think they're just painted. Yeah.
They're art installations. They're large art installations and great advertisement for Louis Vuitton. And man, from everything that I know of Wemby, like he's a great has great character, and he's going to be a good spokesperson for anybody, and especially when he's got as many blocks, if not more blocks, than what is that? Probably like a fifth of the league, 6 different teams. He's got more blocks in February than all the other 5-6 teams combined for the whole month of February. That's crazy.
And think about it, he's been on the road the majority of the month of February.
That rodeo road trip.
Yeah.
He's doing great, and it's and because of his greatness, that's going back to where the Spurs are kind of on the naughty list, if you will. It's coming with a new price tag for season tickets.
Yeah.
I've seen anywhere from like a 16 to 25% increase. There's a lot of people that are looking at not renewing. And
I have a super fan as a friend on Facebook. I'm not going to mention his name or anything. But he put this was the first year he wasn't renewing his ticket membership, and it's been like 12, 15 years.
well, the difference is like between $80 to like $100 per ticket per game. You're talking about 40 something games. Then if making the playoffs and that run, it's a lot for our market, I still think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you think about it, if they play like they did this year, they're not going to have to worry about the extra playoff games.
They don't. No. They won't have to pay for playoff games for a couple of years. Maybe.
Yeah.
Hopefully next year they'll make the playoffs. They've got. The rumor is that we're going to get Mr. James King. I don't want to call him King James. I'm not a fan of LeBron. I don't like LeBron. You like LeBron? You like LeBron.
He's fun to watch.
I'm just not a fan. For reasons outside of basketball. I don't want to get political and stuff like that, but
I like that what he's done for basketball. So when you can come in and be a top player like that and really control the organization, that speaks volumes for your leadership. From when you're able to lead from the court, not only the team on the court, but also the front office, the coaching staff. You lead everybody. And that can be good and bad. I think everybody should be able to be coached. And I don't know if any coaches are going to go super hard on him. Like OG Greg Popovich. I don't know.
Well, that's the thing is they're talking about, I think the Spurs are in the running again, this always goes back to the Vegas odds maker. And it baffles my mind because I come from an era where you don't have sports in Vegas. You don't have now we've got a football team there. They've got a hockey team there. They kept everything out of Vegas, out of Atlantic City back in the day because those were the hubs of gambling. Now it's so pervasive. Like it's crazy how the NFL has embraced the gambling community, and so the odds makers say we're probably going to get Bronny, young James, and there's a chance that LeBron spends his last years here too, which would be crazy.
How old is LeBron going to play until?
Well, he's 38 right now. So, I mean, does he got 3 years? 2-3 years left? 40, 41? I mean, how old was David Robinson when he finally quit?
I don't know.
He was in his 40s, I think. But and again, it's not having to be the role player. Like he's got Wemby to be that role player, and that's the question: is can King James become the secondary person and not be the go-to person and kind of let his ego go in that regards? And I'm not a fan of LeBron James. I'm fine if he doesn't come.
We'll see if he's able to do that. If you look at his career, it's just been incredible. He's been able to keep up stats.
He is.
From
He's
18,
a great player.
19 to 38. So he's been able to keep his stats up for 20 years.
Yeah.
There's not many people that can do that.
He's a great player. He's top whatever. Just I'm just not a fan. It's okay. We don't have to be fans of everybody.
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't get it.
LeBron. So if you come to San Antonio, you might not want to listen to this episode on what to do in San Antonio. Ken Carter does not like you.
But if you need to buy or sell a house, Mr. James, I'll be happy to help you.
Yeah, you don't have to like him to work with them.
I don't have to like you to work with you. Actually, that's kind of it. I mean, to kind of segue into that a little bit, that's one of the things that's kind of like key for me is to like who I'm working with. And that's one of the things I do like about being a realtor. I haven't worked with everybody I could work with because, like, it's got to be enjoyable for them. It's got to be enjoyable. This is a very stressful purchase that they're making, spending more money most likely than they've ever spent before. And to deal with to work with and fight for someone who doesn't really like you, that's the first thing. That's the first thing I do when I have a consultation, whether it's to sell someone's house or to help them buy houses. do we work well together? Can you work with me? I'll make it as fun as possible with making sure that we dot all of our I's and cross all of our T's. Thanks for the team behind me.
That's always fun.
Sorry, tangent.
So, speaking of sports, on the sports realm, did you see that ESPN is identifying San Antonio Austin corridor for the next MLB expansion team?
I saw that, and it doesn't surprise me. Judge Nelson Wolf here in San Antonio, we got Wolf Stadium where the Missions play, is a huge advocate for baseball. Back 15, 20 years ago, I used to actually umpire professional baseball. I was down in the Gulf Coast League. I did a stint in the minor leagues 1 year, and then I got married and never went back. But I also I did a lot of umpiring for men's senior leagues here in San Antonio. And Judge Nelson Wolf every year was playing, and he is such an advocate for baseball. He wants to build a new stadium for baseball for the minor leagues down short in the Southtown area. I'm sure he's doing everything in his power and his connections to kind of help push that forward too.
That would be super cool.
I wouldn't mind.
You talk about the senior leagues. That reminds me, back when I used to play paintball, we used to play competitively and travel around. And I forgot where we were at, but we pulled up to the hotel, and on the big billboard it said, "Welcome senior softball." And I was still in high school. We were so excited. We thought it was going to be a bunch of softball girls.
Just seniors? Just all the senior girls?
It was senior citizen.
That's funny.
Yeah, that was a trip.
I'm actually friends with a guy who's in the Men's Softball Hall of Fame, the Buddy Slater. He was a pitcher back in the day, and he used to travel around for professional softball, which is great. Everybody has their thing that they can do. I'm hopeful that Thea decides to play professional volleyball, which is cooking. I don't know if this is kind of saying that just to kind of segue. If you're interested in volleyball, like there's a professional volleyball league, women's volleyball league now that's been backed by, I think it's a couple of basketball players. I'm not sure who, but like they're getting 12, 15, 20,000 people in attendance to these women's volleyball games without like the subsidy of like the WNBA. It's such a better sport to watch than women's basketball, which I don't know. Sorry. My little plug for women's volleyball.
It sounds like they're getting more people to the games than WNBA.
They're getting a lot
games.
more people to the games. They're not having to, it's not having to be subsidized by a men's league and such. It's been prevalent in European leagues forever, and I think it's awesome that a lot of our young ladies that play high level college have always had to go over to Turkey or Yugoslavia, well, not Yugoslavia anymore, but Serbia and Bosnia and in those areas to play professionally. Italy, Greece. And to give them the same opportunity to do that here and not have to travel and be close to family and stuff like that, I think it's cool. I'm all for it. We need to find the right opportunities for our female athletes.
100%. And it's kind of on a sad note. San Antonio, we lost our WNBA team a few years ago. I think they went to Vegas. Is that right?
That's the problem. I have no idea. And to be honest with you, and when you said that we lost our WNBA team a couple years ago, I was this many days old when I found that out.
It might have been more than a couple years ago. But hey, it is what it's business, huh?
It's business. And the thing is, it's like we need to, it's not that you're not trying to fit a round peg in a square hole. It's like you're trying to force people to watch something that isn't entertaining to them. And I can tell you, after being last 10 years being around women's volleyball on the youth level and getting ready to watch it at the college level, that it's such an entertaining game. And to be honest with you, I don't like men's volleyball because they're too athletic, and it's more entertaining to watch the women because you can get defense in there. Because on the men's, I mean, they're jumping so far over the net and it's like there's no defense involved. And I think a great sport has to have a good defense, i.e. the Popovich mindset.
And I think, like, going back that route, how you said, in your opinion, women's volleyball is more entertaining than women's basketball. But it probably kind of just boils down to what you've been watching for the past 10, 15 years.
100%. It's a bit of kind of that's where my focus has been, and so but it's also because it's better. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I'm sure the girl dads on the
Basketball
watch their
side.
daughters grew up playing basketball. Like, it's a lot more entertaining to them.
And I will give it out to I will tell you that I think that basketball players, the women's basketball players, I would say are more athletic in a lot of ways than volleyball players, and that's probably not a popular opinion amongst my volleyball community. But the amount of quick step back and forth, crossing, like everything that's going on in a basketball game, and with volleyball, it gets more limited as far as you're making certain movements and stuff like that. But you're not playing defense one-on-one and really having to
And full court.
Well, I'll tell you, they get tired.
I'm sure, yeah.
A lot of
They're
running
all over
jump.
the place, yeah.
It's good stuff, though.
So going back to Spurs. Spurs making their way back downtown.
I love that.
I think that's going to be awesome. So we still have a little ways to go, which I think is not a bad thing because it's going to take a few years for them to build the stadium or the arena.
Get the financing for it, get everything in place, get all the partners involved. But I can tell you that I wasn't a fan of when they put the Frost, now what is the Frost Center there, where it's at in its current location next to the Freeman Coliseum. First off, if you're going to do it, tear down the Freeman Coliseum, just make it one thing. But the other location at the time, I don't know if you remember, that they were looking at was where off Wurzbach Parkway and Nacogdoches Road, you have Heroes Stadium, and then on the other side you have the big soccer community, and then you have Morgan's Wonderland. That big quarry area is where they wanted to put the arena and then build shopping around it, build stores and things like that, and kind of make that experience down there. And I think it would have been a lot more successful because at the time, and still to this day, like I do some development in that area not too far from where the Frost Center is. But the reason why they put it in there was to spur development. And you haven't seen any restaurants come in. You haven't seen any new stores come in. All of the development is still closer to downtown and slowly working its way over to where the Frost Center is. I can't get used to saying it.
And it's been there for 20 years.
And has it been that long now?
It's been somewhere in there.
It's been a minute, and it's like, man, I'm old. So in trying to do what we're trying to do in this city, I think putting it back downtown where we've already had some great development. We've got great restaurants, South Alamo all the way down to Blue Star Complex and all of that. It's ripe. It's ripe to have a great stadium, a great down there where the Spurs play, where people can make a night of it instead of making a night of it downtown and then driving over and finding parking over there. Park one time, walk around, make it more accessible downtown. I think it's a great idea. I'm all for it.
It should definitely be more walkable.
For sure.
Just like how Houston has all that area around the Astro Stadium. I don't know if you've ever been down there, Green Line Park and all the hotels and everything around there.
I've been Craig Biggio has a restaurant right there across from not too far from it. It's like a quarter of a mile down from where it is by the convention center. Fun restaurant.
Yeah.
Craig Biggio is by far my favorite baseball player of all time because he was an all-star catcher, all-star second baseman. He could play outfield. He was a baseball player. He wasn't a shortstop. He wasn't a pitcher. He was a baseball player.
He could do it all.
He could do it all. Love that guy.
So, yeah, they can't move the Spurs Stadium or they can't break their lease at the Frost Center until 2026.
And pay a hefty fee for it at the same time. I think it's like $85 million, $84 million, something like that.
Yeah.
But that's all going to come back to them in tax abatements and this and that. I mean, it's big corporations never spend the money; they get it back.
They write it off.
But I think it's the right. I think as far as the city, the whole thing that a city manager does in the city, what we're doing is we're trying to drive the economics of the city. We tried putting it there by the east side over by Willow Springs Golf Course. A lot of good stuff over there, but it obviously is not ready for prime time, if you will, to really kind of get the most bang for the buck.
Well, I can't think of a hotel down there where you can come into town, spend the night, walk to the Spurs game, walk back, There's not anything around there. There's some Days Inns, or some Travel
nothing.
Inns, or there's some like lower end hotel chains.
There's not even Airbnbs close enough to walk
Yeah.
that would be comfortable to
Walk.
do that, to walk there. Yeah. So we'll see. I'm excited for it. I'm all for the development of more development downtown in San Antonio and how that is and things.
Yeah, it's
So we'll see.
exciting. Rolling into our next.
Spotlight of the week.
Yeah.
So we're gonna spotlight La Panaderia, which is one of my favorite little bakeries. I'm getting a head nod from our producer. I think he's happy with the way I pronounced it. La Panaderia.
Can you do me a favor, Ken?
what's
Can you
that?
say that 3 times fast?
La Panaderia, La Panaderia, La Panaderia.
There you go.
And my favorite is the pan de muerte, which is the bread of death or whatever. It's such a great. There's thing about Mexican pastries is they're not as sweet, and I really love them because there's the sweetness of some of our like. You get an opera cake, or you get all these little things, and it's just sweet and sweet, and it's chocolate on chocolate and chocolate and chocolate. And I like the subtlety of a Mexican pastry, but really what I think makes La Panaderia stand out from any of them. Excuse me, one of your favorite restaurants, PBJ by Tay.
Yeah.
It's right there at the Yard off McCullough. Mm-hmm. The first time we ever experienced La Panaderia and their pan de dulces and everything, was at a food farmer's market right there behind the Yard. They used to have one right there, and that was probably 10 to 15 years ago. It was the La Panaderia was started by a couple brothers that learned it from their mom. They moved from Mexico up here, and I will tell you the thing that sets them apart from anybody else is it goes back to the ingredients. Not only are they great at their craft, but they use grass-fed butter. They use eggs from free-range chickens that are not cooped up in a cage, so the yolks are nice, bright orange and everything. So they use super, super great quality ingredients. And from that time, we've seen them go from that food truck or a farmer's market where they're just selling their pastries and things. They've got a location on Broadway. And if you've ever been there on a Saturday morning, the line goes out and you can't find a parking spot. They've got one down on East Houston Street downtown. And then they've got one by Fiesta, Texas, out there by the rim and everything. And every single one, a lot of times you go to a restaurant and this one is a little bit better than that location, even though they're the same ownership. Man, they've got it locked down. They've got it locked down, and it's the best. And their breakfast, they got tortas, they got the sandwiches. I mean, everything about it is great stuff.
Nice. Eat local, live local.
Shop local. They shop local. Everything is local about it. It's great stuff. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, you're good.
I
haven't been there. I'm gonna have to go try it out.
It really is. It's one of our top favorites by far. They've got good coffee, and it's a home run every time. Good chorizo too. That's not too salty. I know you had tacos the other day, and like the problem with the chorizo was it was a little bit salty on the chorizo. And
yeah, it was super salty. It wasn't good at all. I'm not going to name that restaurant, but I'm not going to highlight them.
You're not going to highlight them?
Yeah. Definitely not my favorite. So did you see Shaq is bringing the big chicken franchise to San Antonio?
He's going to bring 50 locations to Texas, and I'm everything and anything Shaq. I think so. Shaq is the antithesis. Let's see if I was trying to come up with a good word. The hero compared to King James' anti-hero.
Yeah.
Like he is the exact opposite of LeBron James, in my opinion. And they both are great business people. They do all of these things. And Shaquille O'Neal is like one of my as far as like celebrity, I think he's one of the best in the league, for sure. But go ahead.
I think he's just one of the best people out there. Like
He's so good.
one of my favorite things is to hear the stories about him. Anytime he's out shopping or anything like that, he ends up paying for a few different people around him. He's always giving back, always really just living out to whose much is given, much is required. He's living that out to the fullest.
Walks the walk, talks the talk. And at the same time, he's an EDM DJ.
Yeah. Well, like think about it. He's been the EDM DJ. He's been the sheriff.
He was a sheriff.
What hasn't he been?
Well, he should be the president. We've got an opening for president, and I think Shaquille's the guy. This is my official endorsement of Shaquille O'Neal for President of the United States 2024. I would vote for him.
He's just such a great guy. Did you see his advice he gave to Jason Kelsey? He told him to enjoy his family, that he lost his whole family and everything for ball.
Oh, yeah.
To spend the time and enjoy your family. Such great, wholesome advice.
He did that was one of his little missteps, but it's the way that he's handled it since then and taking ownership of that misstep is commendable.
Yeah, definitely one of the greatest of this generation.
I think,
and he ties back to local San Antonio.
He does. And I want to do another spotlight real quick.
Go ahead,
because the chicken. There's a restaurant called Freight at the food hall at the Pearl that serves gluten-free chicken, which is crazy because most places, I mean, fried chicken is flour, and I've got a daughter, Mia, who is gluten intolerant because of Hashimoto's disease or something like that. There's something that she doesn't process gluten, and so she's gluten-free. And we went to fried chicken, and it's not like it's a special order because a lot of times we'll go get pizza and they've got a gluten-free option and everything. You go here, they've got a gluten-free option for your sandwich. All of their chicken all the time, whether it's chicken tenders or on the bone, which is the way we got it, was on the bone. It's gluten-free. I don't know what they're frying it in, but it's probably one of the best fried chickens I've had at a restaurant in decades. And I've been to Max's Wine Bar and Nashville Hot Chickens, all that stuff. This chicken was tremendous. And they got chamoy pickles as a side dish.
Chamoy pickles? If you're not from San Antonio and you're not having chamoy pickles, do us a favor, shoot us a message in the comments. We'll send you a chamoy pickle.
And if you don't know what chamoy is and you're from San Antonio, I'd love to list your house for you.
Yeah. We have a great agent in Austin that can help you buy up there.
Yeah, it's more fitting.
Yeah, because you're weird.
Well, I think that wraps up for today.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in. Do us a favor, hit that like and subscribe button. I'm over here using my hands again that Ken always makes fun of me about. But we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Cheers, mate.